Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Wild at Heart is a 1990 American romantic crime comedy drama thriller that was written and directed by David Lynch, and it's based on a 1990 novel that had the same name by Barry Gifford. The production stars Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, William Dafoe, Crispin Glover, Diane Ladd, Isabella Rossellini, and Harry Dean Stanton. The storyline goes that after serving prison time for a self-defense killing, Sailor Ripley reunites with his girlfriend, Lula Fortune. Lula's mother, Marietta, who is desperate to keep them apart, hires a hitman to kill Sailor. But he ends up finding a whole new set of troubles when he and Bobby Peru, an old buddy who's also out to get Sailor, try to rob a store. When Sailor lands in jail yet again, the young lovers appear further than ever from their shared life that they covet. David Lynch originally only intended to produce the movie, but after he read the book, he decided to write the screenplay and direct it as well. He didn't really like the ending of the novel, so he decided to change it to fit his vision of what happens to the main characters. The production is noted for its allusions to The Wizard of Oz and to Elvis Presley, and the initial test screenings that they did for the movie were poorly received. Lynch even estimated that at least 300 people walked out due to its sexual and violent content. It did go on and win the Palme d'Or Award at the 1990 Cannes Film Festival, which at that time was considered a really controversial decision. It had its theatrical release August 17th of 1990 to really polarized views from the critics. It grossed $14 million against its $10 million budget. The film really does have some interesting characters in it. Nicolas Cage plays Sailor, who is described as being a romantic Southern outlaw. Cage went on to say in an interview that he was always attracted to those passionate, almost unbridled romantic characters, and that the role of Sailor had more than any other role that he had played. Prior to him being cast in the film, he met with director Lynch several times at Musso and Frank Grill in L.A., a place that they both frequented. You see, when Lynch originally read the novel, he immediately thought of Cage to play this role of Sailor. But then you need somebody just as bizarre to play Lula Fortune, and that's where Laura Dern came in. Dern had played a supporting role in Lynch's film Blue Velvet, and Wild at Heart was the first opportunity that she had had to play not only a very sexual person, but also someone who was in her own way incredibly comfortable with herself. Lynch immediately thought that Dern would be the right casting for the role of Lula. And then how can you beat Diane Ladd's performance as Marietta Fortune, who's Lula's overbearing mother, who forbids the relationship that she has with Sailor? She forms a grudge against Sailor, seemingly after he rejects her advances. And oddly enough, Diane Ladd and Laura Dern are mother and daughter in real life. I have to tell you that Diane Ladd knocks this role out of the park. She is disturbingly good. Now, so many of these characters in the film just stand out. One actress that has very little screen time but makes a big impact in the production is Cheryl Lynn Finn. She shows up in the car accident scene. David Lynch came up with this idea after feeling that his impression of her was basically a porcelain doll, and he wanted to see this porcelain doll break. He kept telling her about that, and that's how the scene was really born. It's said that during filming, Laura Dern passed out when David Lynch asked her to smoke 4 cigarettes at one time with one deep inhalation. You see Nicolas Cage do this with 2 cigarettes. When she came to, she saw a worried Lynch standing above her, asking her, "Tidbit, are you all right?" She quickly got over this and went back to work. Now, in one scene where William Dafoe's character walks in and terrorizes Laura Dern's character by stating that he needed to use the restroom at her place, you see him go and urinate in a toilet. And this is not fake at all. He was actually doing that. He had drunk a great deal of bottled water and needed to go very bad. It was only later on that he found out that the toilet was not a working one, and some poor crew member had to clean it out. Laura Dern's son, Ellery Harper, met David Lynch and expressed an interest in seeing the films that they had made together. Lynch begged him not to watch this film until he was 30 years old. And this is not because of his mom's performance or her nudity in it, but it was because of his grandmother's performance, Diane Ladd, which really is truly shocking. Dern, who preferred to play intellectual characters, had some difficulty playing someone as sex-obsessed as Lula was. She found that chewing bubblegum while saying her lines gave her the right pace and got her into character much better. She also broke her no nudity clause for the film, stating that she had never done a nude film prior to this, and she never really condoned it for herself at all. But she stated that the director David wanted it, and that she was completely comfortable with it because it was protected by this crazy love story. She never felt like she was exploited at all. Director Lynch already knew he was going to ask Cage and Dern to perform some extremely sexually explicit scenes, and he wanted them to be totally comfortable working together before they ever started taking their clothes off in front of the cameras. He suggested that they go away together for a few days to get to know each other before the filming started. They ended up going on a road trip from LA to Las Vegas, and Cage felt like that the sex in the film was so intimate that it was real important for him to be with someone that he genuinely liked. And he liked Laura. They had a great trip and a real crazy time together. Dern even added that she knew that it was an unusual way to get to know your leading man, but it really worked for this film. It made them much more in sync. They got bored and sweaty together during their long drives through the desert that broke down barriers that allowed them to get to know each other better. Go back and watch this really bizarre film. It's probably not everybody's movie, but I think it's a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.